Joining me now, Republican Congressman Tom Price of Georgia, who serves on the Budget Committee with Paul Ryan and chairs the House Republican Policy Committee. Congressman, thanks so much. This is really guts football. Well, thank you. David Brooks has praised what Paul Ryan has done today, but he is taking on all the sacred cows. And according to many of his critics on the Democratic side, and even some Republicans privately saying, this is very, very tough medicine.
Well, it is tough medicine, but Andrea, here it is. It's a choice of two futures, and the red line that you see here is the path that the president has us on in terms of debt. The green line is what will bring us into balance, and that's what we propose. We're talking about the facts of the situation, and the American people want the politicians here in Washington to give them the truth. And the truth is that we're on a trajectory right now that we cannot sustain. So we propose a path to prosperity that results in significant spending decreases out of Washington, tax reform, but reforming and ensuring that the health and retirement security for seniors stays in place and we save it for future generations.
Of course, what you and Paul Ryan call tax reform, critics would say doesn't include any revenue increases, no tax increases. Why not also take on that sacred cow and perhaps offend some of your own base?
Well, because if you tax something, if you increase taxes on something, you get less of it. So if you increase taxes on productivity and the job creators in this country, then you get less productivity and fewer job creators.
Well,
and we don't
an
believe that
assertion,
that's the appropriate thing.
I mean, some people would say if you increase taxes that you get more revenue. And if you cut taxes, particularly on the wealthy, you get less revenue, demonstrably less.
Well, in fact, what evidence will show and what the truth will show is that in this global market, in this global environment, if we increase taxes on the job creators in this country, then the job creators will go elsewhere. They'll go overseas. They don't have to stay here, Andrea. And that's what the American people know. That's the truth of the situation. That's the fact of the matter. That's why we're putting forward this bold proposal to make certain that we balance the budget, we decrease spending here in Washington, and we reform the systems of health and retirement security so that they are alive and saved for future generations.
One final question, though. Paul Ryan was a member of the Deficit Commission and didn't endorse any of the proposals. He was not part of the majority that supported what Alan Simpson and what former Chief of Staff Bowles said.
Yes, well, in fact, he supported many of the proposals that came out of the Deficit Commission. He didn't vote for it in the end, and that's because there were no significant reforms to the real cost drivers in our budget, and those are the health care cost drivers. As a physician, I can tell you that Medicare is not able to sustain itself for the long term, which is why we don't affect any issue in Medicare or Medicaid for those individuals 55 and above. But for those below, we save the system and give them what the president has always called on, which is the program that members of Congress have for themselves, modeled after the Federal Employee Health Benefits Program. So you can either have the path in the red, the one that increases the debt to astronomical levels and will destroy our country from a financial standpoint, or you can have the path in the green, the responsible, honest way to address the budget.
Dr. Tom Price, thank you very much, Congressman,
Thank you,
a member
Andrea.
of the Budget Committee. Thanks for joining us today.